வாழ்க Be blessed by the divine. Today we have a special guest in our show, Professor G.K. Bharati. I invite her to this beautiful show here. We have been discussing about an interesting topic that I'm sure is of great interest to you as well. How to overcome negative thoughts using Kundalini Yoga. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Namaste. Be blessed by the divine. I am immensely pleased to have a discussion on the topic thoughts, how to conquer negative thoughts using Kundalini Yoga with our WCSC IT Director, Professor Krish Murali Easwar. I am Mrs. G.K. Bharati. I am a retired bank official. I have done my MA, MPhil in yoga. I am also a professor of WCSC, founded by our Guruji Yogiraj Vedadri Maharishi. Many of my students do ask me a bundle of questions, and I do answer them, no doubt in it. Still, I feel if only I have discussions with great souls like Professor Krish Murali Easwar, I can just sharpen my skills in yoga so that I can do better service to society. It is with this idea in mind I have come to this forum. I have many doubts and questions, as also many of you may have such doubts and questions. வாழ்க வளமுடன், Professor Krish Murali Easwar. I have some doubts, questions on the topic thoughts, how to conquer negative thoughts through Kundalini Yoga. My first question is, our Guruji Vedadri Maharishi has said, what you think, you become. Can you just show throw some light on this, sir?
Beautiful question. Mind is an ethereal subject. We cannot measure mind with any instrument. What is the shape of the mind? Can anyone tell us? What is the color of the mind? Can anyone answer this question? What is the character of the mind? No one is able to explain the answers for these questions. But yet, the mind contains all the shapes, all the colors, all the characteristics that we want to think. Therefore, like rainwater, mind takes the shape, color, and character of the object that it comes in contact with. If you think of good thoughts, you become goodness personified. If one thinks of negative things, hurtful, harmful things, the person becomes poisoned by one's own thoughts. Every action, whether it is a word or a deed, except reflexive actions, are preceded by a thought. You look around yourself, look at the number of objects that are there around you. The mobile phone, the computer, photographs, the dresses that we wear, and various other objects that we have around us. At some point of time in the history of this planet, these objects were mere fictional objects. They are mere fictions of imaginations of people. And it actually never existed. But that one human being who had this vision of creating a pen or a mobile phone or a computer or a paper and a pen actually went about giving shape to that particular object and therefore became the rightful inventor or a developer of that object. So what made him create that object? His own mind. It is his imagination and it is his preoccupation with his vision that created that object. Ask yourself, who created who you are today? Who is the reason behind all the successes that you enjoy today? And who is the reason behind the pains and difficulties and miseries that one goes through in their life? What you are today is a product of what you did in the past. Can anyone deny this? Therefore, what you will be tomorrow is what you think today. If all your actions except reflex actions are governed by your thoughts, your mind therefore is the creator, is the architect, is the divine originator of who you are. So what you think is what you become. This is the true meaning of the words that you asked, madam.
It's a wonderful reply, sir. I know thoughts are classified as positive thoughts and negative thoughts. Can you just explain this classification?
Positive and negative thoughts. Did I understand your question right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There is nothing positive or negative about a thought. A thought is a thought, that's all. But what makes a thought get classified as negative is the thought that ends up in an action in us, a deed or a word that hurts us or others. It could hurt us today, it could hurt tomorrow, it could hurt physically, it could hurt mentally. A thought that results in action causing pain for self or others now or in the future, physically or mentally, need to be classified as a negative thought. A positive thought, therefore, is the opposite of this, that which motivate us to act and do and speak in a manner that will not cause hurt for us or others now or in the future, physically or mentally. It is not possible for us to stop thinking, but it is possible for us to stop negative thinking. So we must aim to stop negative thinking. We must develop positive thinking.
Well, then what is this negative thought? How does it come? That is, any reason behind it?
There are three reasons why a negative thought originates in a human being. Reason number one is illusion. Mother gave us a sweet. We ate. We enjoyed it. we felt rewarded. We must know that there is moderation and discipline required in consuming that sweet. We can't eat any number of sweets, we can't go on eating as well. We must stop at one point of time. If we do not stop, or if we wrongly consume sweet or any food for that matter, could result in pain for us. But we know we are causing pain for us, or we are going to cause pain for us, and yet we sometimes overeat or we wrongly eat this kind of food and end up hurting us because we have imagined in our illusory state that happiness is in that sweet. Happiness is not in that sweet. Pleasure is not in that sweet. Pleasure is in the tongue. After all, we can only enjoy one or two sweets for 4 or 5 or 10 or 15. We cannot go on eating the same sweet. If there is pleasure and happiness in that sweet, it should continue to give us pleasure and happiness no matter how many we eat at a time. That is not the case. Beyond a threshold, the sweet becomes bitter. It causes pain for us. We must understand that there is no pleasure in that sweet, but it is a transient, transformational experience of the sweet undergoing chemical, physical, and electrical change in our tongue. If you take the sweet and press it in your hand, it undergoes chemical and physical change, but no electrical change happens there. Only when it touches in our tongue, the saliva, the sensory tongue converts that electricity into magnetic transformation into taste. There is a limit to that enjoyment. Because we imagine in our illusory state that there is unlimited potential for enjoyment, it causes negative thinking, causing pain for us. This is reason number one. The reason number two is ego. Negative thinking can originate from ego. Ego is motivated by our need to identify ourselves in certain frame of context. I am a big man. I am a powerful man. I am a director. I am a professor. I am a guru. I am a writer. I am an author. I am a singer. I. Wherever I want to identify myself with a particular frame, ego develops in me. And I want to associate all my behaviors, actions and reactions of mine, and the experiences that I wish to undergo with this ego. So, this is also one of the reasons for my negative thinking. I must get rid of it. There is no need for ego at all, for which we need a psychic practice to identify ourselves with the primordial state. The third reason for negative thinking is karma, karmic imprints, the so-called sin imprints, imprints that motivate us to hurt us or others now or in the future, physically or mentally, is a sin imprint. And the sin imprints could have been inherited by us from ancestors all the way up to animals, etc. Or it could have been developed in us in our lifetime due to circumstances or others' imposition. or habit or need for survival, for instance, or it could have developed in us due to our own desires and ambitions to achieve what we wish to achieve in the future. The three segments or three segregations of karma: Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, Akamya karma. So these three different sets of karma could motivate us to have negative thinking that ends up hurting us or others now or in the future, physically or mentally. So in short, Anava, Kanma, Maya, illusion, ego, and sin imprints are the three reasons for all our negative thinking.
Fantastic explanation, sir. I feel if only we practice our Vedadari Maharishi simplified physical exercises, meditation, and pranayama, one can come out of these negative thoughts. Am I right, sir?
Not necessarily so. The most important aspect of coming out of negative thinking is introspection exercises. It is not possible for us to get rid of thinking. It's not possible to stop thinking. But it is possible to stop negative thinking. If you allow a thought to develop, or even give room for a thought to enter in your mind, it becomes very difficult for us to get rid of it in our life. So exercises certainly will help us to harmonize heat, blood and air and life force and magnetic circulation in the body. That gives us harmony between our life force and our body, helps us to remain calm in our mind. 100%, there is no doubt about this. Meditation will help us to improve our willpower. It will help us to go to subtle levels of frequency between alpha 8 to 13 cycles per second, or even go down below alpha to theta 4 to 7, or even below that to delta between 0.5 and 3 cycles per second. But only when the brain goes down in its frequency, in its operation from an active 14 cycles plus beta to 13 cycles minus alpha frequency, we can then begin to diagnose. Introspection is a process through which we can detect what is the reason for this negative thinking. We have the power of discrimination with us. After all, this is the sixth sense that we have got. A dog or a tiger cannot decide not to kill for food, but we can decide. We can choose not to hurt. Ahimsa can be a conscious decision that we can arrive at through the power of discrimination. We know who gave us that power of discrimination. Goodness is personified in us. We are goodness personified. Goodness is God. Nothing else is God. If you want to worship anything in your life, you should worship goodness in human beings. Even the worst of the criminal in the world has goodness. You have goodness, I have goodness. We must allow our goodness to develop in us. We must give ourselves a chance to develop goodness in us. How do we develop goodness in us? Exercises and meditation are fundamental pillars that will prepare our body, prepare our mind to introspect. We must sit in silence. In that silence, we must discriminate. What is the reason? Let us say that I got angry with my wife and I shouted. In my silence, when my brain is operating at the alpha level between 8 and 13 cycles per second, I must sit down and analyze, why did I get angry with her? The reason could be very many, but if you carefully analyze, you will discover an expectation of yourself for that particular anger tantrum of yours. So it is my expectation that led to an imaginary disappointment, because after all expectation is also purely imaginary. It's just me. I'm just imagining that my wife should allow me to do my meditation in the morning. But there are so many rain insects that have come into the bedroom early in the morning at 5 o'clock, because it was my mistake that I kept the door open in early morning when I had gone out to the balcony to bring some clothes for me. And the rain insects have come into the house, and she works very hard, and she needed another extra hour of sleep in the morning, and she deserves that sleep. And she comes and tells me, just when I'm about to start meditating, let us say, she comes and tells me, no, 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 please close, do something. There are 2,000 insects inside the house. And I get angry. Now, whose fault it is? I just imagine that it is my birthright to sit and meditate whenever I want. And I can go and open the door and allow these 2,000 insects to come into the house. And I just imagine that I expect my wife to clean up these insects and go back to sleep. What is it? She's a robo or what? So I must understand it is my expectation, imaginary in that too, that caused this disappointment in me, that led me to shout at her or get angry or behave in a way which was inappropriate for that particular moment. She simply does not deserve that negative behavior from me. So, what should I do? I must, when meditating, in my alpha level, in my silence, superimpose. I must A, come to a conclusion that she is not the reason for my anger. I am the reason for my anger. She did what she did, not because she wanted to instigate anger in me, but because she was helpless. Poor lady. I got upset with her, I got angry with her because I was foolish, I was kiddish, I had an expectation, I had an imaginary expectation. I just expected her to leave me alone to do my meditation, and it got interrupted, and therefore my desire got thwarted in that particular spot, and that became anger in me. I shouted at her. Very unreasonable, no? It's very, just totally unreasonable. How is it ethical? It's unethical what I did. So therefore, I must come to a conclusion that there is no point in me getting angry. So next time something similar happens, I will not get angry. So now what I am doing is I am creating a magnetic knot, which is a new knot, in place of an old knot. Old behavior is I want to meditate, wife interrupts, shout. Now the new knot is I want to meditate, I sit down to meditate, and I ask her, can I help you? Okay? She said, no, 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 go ahead and meditate. But still, there are insects. She comes. I must realize that she will not disturb me unless there is some kind of an emergency. And I will sacrifice my meditation for a few minutes. Nothing will happen. Instead of meditating at 5:30 in the morning, I can start meditation at 5:40. Nobody is going to scold me. The world is not going to fall on my head. Just postpone it by 10 minutes. So I come to a conclusion. My wife will not interrupt me unless there is an emergency. Therefore, give her a priority when she comes. Extreme cases, every day I meditate. Once in some 2 years, she interrupts me because there is an emergency. And therefore, I will take a resolution, this time a very strong affirmation that I will not get angry with her, but I will give her priority. So when this new thought is given enough intensity and power, this new thought will superimpose the old thought pattern. A new neural network will get created in me with the power of visualization. I have to visualize. I have to, in that alpha level, visualize. Imagine, okay, this is going to happen. My wife, I'm going to sit down to meditate. My wife is interrupting me, but this time I'm peaceful. I'm looking at her. I'm asking her, Amma, what can I do to help you? And she says, Murli, there are so many insects inside. Oh my God, I will come immediately. Close down everything. Go attend to that emergency situation. Clean up the house. And I say sorry to her. It's my mistake. I kept that window open. I will close it. I will throw all these insects out. Please go to another room and sleep. I will take care of this. 10-15 minutes, clean everything up. Then I go and tell her, everything is clean. Can I go back to meditation? Now I visualize. I've created a new scenario in my mind. Now this is a new me. This is a renewed me. This is positive thinking. So you can only replace negative thinking with positive thinking, with the power of introspection, with the power of superimposition, with the power of superimposition, with the power of auto suggestion, with the power of visualization and association. The brain works like this. When you do this often for every negative thinking of yours, you will only become positively charged at all times. You will not give room to any negative emotions in your life. That will give you peace and harmony inside you and with all living forms outside you.
Wonderful, wonderful, sir. Very nice explanation. This apart, are there any other techniques that we can follow?
Sure. There is perhaps one other technique that we could try. We have already talked about meditation and we have spoken about introspection as a powerful technique to superimpose and replace negative thinking with positive thinking. But there's one other beautiful technique to also follow this. Expiation is a beautiful technique to get rid of our negative thinking from us. Go say sorry to your wife. I make a mistake. I meet her and I say, Amma, I'm very, very sorry. I apologize. It's unforgivable that I shouted at you early in the morning because you interrupted my meditation and I got disappointed and I was under pressure to time pressure. Whose pressure? Imaginary time. There's absolutely no time pressure also. There's no fire engine that is burning anywhere or fire engine coming anywhere or there's no earthquake. There is nothing else that's going to kill me if I don't meditate for 10 minutes. I just imagine. My fault. So go and apologize and compensate. When you do this sincerely, your ego vanishes in that space. And it's a beautiful exercise of getting rid of ego. When you constantly use three beautiful magical words, please, thank you, and sorry, your ego vanishes. When ego vanishes, negative thinking will vanish. I would also like to just add why the superimposition as a technique will work very well with a short story, if you please permit me to do so. There was a king whose hairline was receding, hair was balding, head was balding. He called all the doctors in his kingdom and said, please cure my balding head. There is no cure, obviously. So he imprisoned all the doctors. One guru came to him and said, I will cure. All you need to do is wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, stand in front of the mirror, but do not think of a dancing monkey. What you should not do? Do not think of a dancing monkey. You can think of anything else, but not dancing monkey. As the king said, no big deal. Are you sure the hair will grow? 100% hair will grow if you do this exercise. So the king stood in front of the mirror. Just when he stood in front of the mirror, what do you think happened? He thought of a dancing monkey. And he got flabbergasted by this. Come on, this is not possible. For so long I didn't think of dancing monkey. Why is this dancing monkey coming just when I was looking at my head 6 o'clock in the morning? Next day he tried, failed. Next day he tried, failed. He was so annoyed with himself. He called the Guru and said, Guruji, this is not possible. Please give me some other way by which I can cure my head. Maybe some legium or some liquid, some cream or something like that. But this is torture. This is worse than a Chinese torture you are giving me. I can't go through this. So the Guru tells him, no, King, please understand, there is no cure for balding head. Your own mind you are not able to cure and control. How are you going to control a receding hairline? This is nature's law. There is no cure. Please accept this. You are actually looking like a wiser king with a bald head. So leave it like that. Everybody in the kingdom also said, yes, yes, king, you are looking wiser. So king agreed. And he let all the doctors go, but said, Guruji, you stay. I am okay with my balding head. That problem is solved. But now you have a new problem. You have to solve that problem. Remove the dancing monkey from my head. I'm not able to remove it from my head. Please remove it. The Guru said, bring a pot. They bought an empty pot. And he asked the king, what is inside the pot? And he called a minister. Minister, look into that pot and tell what is inside that pot. He looked into the pot and said, there's nothing inside the pot. But a Shishya of the Guru disagreed and said, there is air inside the pot. Technically, it is right. So the minister said, hey, this is cheating. Come on, you can't be misleading me like this. If you had asked me if there is air inside, I would have said air inside. So give me another chance to prove that I'm intelligent enough. So the Guru said, remove the air and bring the pot. There is no solution for this. How do you remove an air from an empty pot? So the minister said, let's see if your Shishya can do this. Shishya took the pot, put it under a tap, opened the tap, filled it with water and brought it. What happened to the air? Air gone. This is the technique for replacing. This is the power of superimposition. You cannot remove negative thinking unless you put in positive thinking. As human beings, no, we have the tendency to keep thinking about what we don't want. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to be worried. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want diseases. Why are you constantly asking for what you don't want? Do not think about what you don't want. Think about what you want. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. I want to be tolerant. I want to be patient. I want to be harmonious. I want to be healthy. I want to live long. What beautiful positive affirmations that we can have for ourselves in place of, instead of negative thinking. This is the power of positive thinking. When you do this, your brain will only look for ideas, actions, words, people, opportunities, resources that will help you achieve what you want. And what more, the other end of your mind is Almighty consciousness. That Almighty force is waiting to conspire with you to help you achieve what you want. Try it, my friend, try it. You will certainly succeed in manifesting your positive thoughts sooner than later.
Very crystal clear answer, sir. Fantastic. With stories, short story and all. From today's discussion, what I understood is thoughts, we cannot just arrest thoughts. They come and go just like the clouds are in the sky. If only we practice our Vedadri Maharishi's yogic exercises, meditation, and silence, and also introspection together with pranayama, we can lead a very happy life full of positive thoughts. Hope I am right.
That's true, but pranayama is not necessary for introspection. Introspection is a silence exercise where you sit down and listen to your mind. Only when you are silent, you can listen. That is why the word silent and listen are spelled with the same letters. Exactly the same letters. L-I-S-T-E-N-S-I-L-E-N-T. No difference. But this time, you are not going to be silent to listen to others, but you're going to listen to yourself. And in the process, you are going to analyze your thoughts and discriminate between right and wrong with that simple filter. Will this thought, when put in action, cause hurt for me or others now or in the future, physically or mentally? If yes, then it is negative thinking. What do I do with negative thinking? Replace it with a positive thinking. And for that, you give strength for the positive thinking. You create an association with the old trigger and the new positive thinking, and you visualize. Actually, you putting the new thought into action in the future every time, again and again, you visualize. When do you visualize? When your brain is at alpha frequency. And how do you go to alpha frequency? By doing Duriya meditation in Kundalini Yoga. So those are the processes that help you succeed in replacing negative thinking with positive.
Thank you, sir, for your patient listening to my questions and also answering them very nicely. I feel I am enlightened a lot. Thank you once again, sir. Be blessed by the divine. May our God and Guru shower his choicest blessings on you and your family. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you for being a source of inspiration. Thank you all for joining us this wonderful session. And if you would like to have any more questions, feel free to ask at any point of time. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you, Professor J.K. Bharati, for being there and inspiring this beautiful show. May Almighty Force and our Guru shower you all with good health, long life, enough wealth, peace, prosperity, fame, and wisdom. Be blessed by the divine. I will see you in the next show.